An extract from Converted on LSD Trip, David Clarke's new audio book, Chapter 6. Shortly after my brother came out of Borstal, a form of transport was required for two. A solution to this came through my brother, who persuaded me to swap my scooter for a two-seater Izetta 350cc bubble car. I had inherited his scooter from him when he was sent to Borstal, but by now it had been renovated. I had rebuilt the engine and the scooter in the spare bedroom at home and resprayed British Racing Green. It was a Lambretta TV 175cc. The fuel tank and the tool compartment was stove enamel gold. I had a dual seat with a passenger backrest with very little extras. There had been a craze whereby crash bars and wheel mirrors and wheel racks and anything made of chrome was generally attached to such machines, but not mine. I was proud of this Lambretta. It had to go to make way for the sky blue bubble car. Before this time, we had to thumb lifts and get to places we wanted to go, if the scooter wasn't in action. On one occasion, we were keen to go to Bedford as the Who were playing at the Corn Exchange. We were dressed in our mohair suits and carried a small suitcase with us that Saturday night. We got as far as Ampthill in Bedfordshire, but were stuck on the corner of the Ampthill to Bedford road and were about 20 miles from Bedford. We were stuck, and Michael went into the pub to get a drink whilst I stayed on the corner trying to thumb a lift. To my relief, and just after Michael had gone to the pub, a two-seater blue coupe Jag pulled up to offer me a lift. I rushed up to the window of the car, carrying our small suitcase, feeling very relieved that I'd got a lift, but at the same time anxious as my brother was still in the pub. I said to the driver cheekily, would he mind waiting for a moment? The driver was fine and said OK. However, to my surprise and amazement, I realised who the driver was. It was Pete Townshend, the lead guitarist of The Who. Of course, that made our day. By this time, Michael had arrived, and we both squeezed into the front seat of Pete's Jag, and we told him we were going to the Bedford Corn Exchange to hear their band that night. As we drove to Bedford, we stopped, and Pete asked us to ask some girls that were walking in the street directions to where The Who were playing. Sure enough, they knew, and pointed us to the direction of the Corn Exchange. It was a great evening. Chapter 9. The Bubble Car. The bubble car belonged to David Ness of Chiltern Avenue in Aylesbury, who had been given it by his brother. There was only one thing wrong with it. We had to bump start it, as the starter motor didn't work. Push it, and then put it in gear and jump in once the engine had started. In this vehicle we had many adventures because we were liberated from the two-wheel scooter and could cram 4 people in this vehicle if we wanted. Neither of us had passed our driving test to drive a normal car, but I had passed my test to drive a motorbike, and my licence allowed me to drive a 3-wheeler bubble car. We were able to carry blankets and spare clothing, etc., all in the dry. We would carry all the things that we needed for a night out in a suitcase. It was ideal for catching girls. The front opened up and it could be driven forward with the front door open. All we did was to drive up to a bird we wanted to catch and stop it in front of her, open up the door and drive forward. She had no option but to fall in, and we would drive off with her in the car. It was questioned, was any girl safe with us around? Dr. Clarke's case. Whilst Michael was in Borstal, he had made for me a wooden case. It was like a briefcase, with writing on the side, Dr. Clarke. This was to be a bit of fun. However, I carried in that case a bottle of chloroform, whiskey and a fake gun. It was a starter pistol that fired blanks and looked real. We used to use the case to frighten people as soon as they learned what was inside the case. On one occasion we went into the Crombie shop in the Kingsway Square, intending to frighten the manager of the shop. What had happened was that I had had a blue mohair suit made to measure by him. However, the jacket didn't fit right, and even after many alterations it did not fit properly. This was whilst Michael was in Borstal. So, on Michael's release, and him hearing about the suit, we decided to go and get our own back and frighten the manager to pieces. He was about 21 years old and we were just younger. So we went into the shop and put Dr. Clarke's case on the counter and proceeded to get the chloroform out of the case, intending to put the manager to sleep. We had no other intentions but simply to frighten him. When he realised what was taking place, he was terrified, and I had to stop Michael from knocking him out with the chloroform. Off to Margate. In 1966, the mods and rocker riots were common. On one occasion, we set off to Margate on one bank holiday in the bubble car. This was a custom among our generation of mods. We all seemed to migrate to Yarmouth, Margate or Brighton. This was Whitsun bank holiday. On this trip to the coast, my brother was true to form and had borrowed a .22 Webley air pistol from Pat Jones and was determined to have a good time. He had fired the occasional pop shot at one or two girls' bottoms, which caused amusement. This was not what I would have normally have done, because I remember how shocked I was at 11 years old when I recalled boys having airgun fights in the woods on my way home from school. I thought then how dangerous and stupid it was. However, here was my older brother, older than me, acting fearlessly. I just went along with it, suppressing my natural cautiousness. As we passed through the various towns in London, the air pistol was used to cause alarm. As I write, I shrivel at the thought of what was done. We found it amusing to shoot at ladies' bottoms, as their reaction of shock was funny. As we passed through Lewisham, several people must have reported the mystery airgun shooter, and at least one lady was wounded and reported the matter to the police. Caught by the police. Traffic police en route to Margate stopped us. These men briefly searched our car but found nothing suspicious and let us go. My brother had hidden the pistol just in time, and we did not allow this close shave to stop our adventures. Persons, girls, bathing at night were targets for our folly, and we found it amusing to see and hear the scream of a female. It was not intended to wound or harm, but that really was inevitable. During this weekend, we moved on to Ramsgate, and again, moved with a spirit of naughtiness, decided to steal a tray of peaches from a fruit and vegetable shop. The bubble car was used as the getaway car. The shop was halfway down a hill, with houses on either side of the shop. It was decided I should take the peaches and my brother drive the getaway car. I lifted the tray of peaches and jumped in the car as it rolled down the hill, making a chug 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 noise, attracting attention. Naturally, we were spotted and reports were made to the police, but we didn't know this. Our foolishness was brought to an end when the same traffic police that had stopped us in London on the way home picked us up. I could tell from their faces that they had it in for us. A quick check of our vehicle revealed the stolen handbag. If only we'd got rid of it, I thought. Then the airgun pellets and finally the airgun itself. That was it. We were arrested. The policeman having a smile on his face and almost laughing at us. We were charged with malicious wounding and 2 cases of stealing. A woman in Lewisham had been travelling in a sidecar and had been hit in the neck by the airgun pellet by my brother. I was granted bail, but my brother was detained in custody. We had decided that I would say that I had done the shooting and my brother was asleep. That was to get my brother off a prison sentence, as he had already done 2 spells in detention centre and 2 years in Borstal. I had only had a probation order and had an apprenticeship. I thought I would only get off with a fine, but I was wrong. Our mum managed to obtain bail for my brother, and we appeared in Kent Quarter Sessions several months later. On recollection, I can remember a prison officer at Rochester Borstal, where I visited my brother a year previously, had said to me that I would be sent to Borstal if I didn't watch out. I said, "You must be joking." I was sent to Borstal, just as he said, as I would be confessing to this crime. We were charged with malicious wounding and carrying a firearm without a licence. On reflection, I think my brother was not being a good brother to me. He should have not let me take the rap, but I did. The bubble car blows up. During the time we were awaiting our court appearance, we went one night to Bedford in the bubble car. On the way home, the bubble car caught light and blew up as the petrol tank was above the engine. We managed to walk to Woburn Green and decided we would have to sleep the night there. After rooting through some garages, we found an old mattress and blankets, and there was a newly piled mound of grass on the village green. This was where we made our bed, and it was very comfortable. We put up our umbrella that we'd rescued from the bubble car and slept soundly until the morning, when the police arrived and wanted to know what we were doing, as if they couldn't see. They woke us up. When we explained the bubble car had blown up, they said yes, they'd seen it down the road, so they let us go without further questioning. I arrived at work the next morning, but was soon to be dismissed because I was to appear in court, and they were not prepared to trust me anymore. This was the last of the bubble car, as my parents managed to sell it whilst we were in prison. Converted on LSD Trip by David Clarke, available from amazon.co.uk and amazon.com, so get your copy now.